Hello, how you doing? Danny de Hek, aka the Crypto Ponzi Scheme Avenger. Here to name and shame anyone running or promoting a Ponzi scheme or a scam. Now I've got an interesting one. This one's a little bit different than normal. And I want to be honest up front here. I'm not trying to out anybody, but I just want a bit of perspective on ethics, values, and doing the right thing. And as far as I'm concerned, I've had a bit of a problem. As you know, I do drop shipping for a living, and that's how I support myself while I go after these big and nasty cartel type people on the internet that are taking money from mum and dad investors. So I've delivered a remote to a orthopaedic surgeon in Auckland. He ordered it, I think from memory, about on the 21st of October, and we got it delivered by the 30th of October. And then on the 15th of November, I got a message saying, "Where's my remote?" So I looked up the tracking number and seen that the remote had been delivered. Now, there's a few things I could have done better here. For example, we send out probably anything from 5,000, probably about 5,000 orders a year. And for the last 18 months, we haven't actually really had anything go missing. And 99% of the time, the end deliverer is NZ Post. And I've just, before I was going to do this video, I noticed that it was actually iMile deliverer that delivered this particular product. So when the customer came back to me and said, "Look, Dan, I haven't received the remote," and I said, "Well, can you ring up New Zealand Post? Because they will be able to tell you where it is on your property." Now, I have rang up New Zealand Post in the past and asked them, and because it wasn't delivered to me, they hide behind privacy and they don't want to tell you anything. It's so frustrating, and it's frustrating for the customer as well. My mistake there, I've just noticed that New Zealand Post wasn't responsible for delivering the goods. Long story short, the customers called me a scammer. The customer said he's going to go to the and get his credit card, reversed. And what did he actually say? "You're not a real company and just a scam. Otherwise, you wouldn't be dealing with the issue yourself and giving me fake, incorrect tracking numbers and giving incorrect advice. I will start proceedings with my bank and have these fees refunded, and your company registered as a scam outfit." So that was quite rich, really, coming from an orthopaedic surgeon who I assume has to take his job pretty seriously. Unlike me, I'm, just a YouTuber. What would I know? So first of all, I wanted to look at the tracking. And as you can see, the tracking here, the tracking actually started on the 21st of October. And we gave the tracking number as soon as it was issued. So anyone, even a busy orthopaedic surgeon, could have kept up with the tracking. And when it got to the 30th of October, it says it has been delivered successfully. That was really good. So if you have a look at the thumbnail here, you can actually see that the mailbox has been opened and you can see the parcel inside the mailbox. So we know it's in a secure location. Over here, you can see them holding the parcel and it looks like a remote. So there's the remote, and the remote in question, well, look at it. It's an RC-880M, one of my most favorite remotes, I must say. And this is the orthopedic surgeon who's disappointed. So after threatening me with reversal, if you are a Shopify owner, when somebody does that, regardless whether they're true, I'm correct, they're correct, you get a $20 chargeback fee. Good to know if you want to do that to people. So I didn't want to incur that fee. I looked at it and thought, well, customer relations, I'm going to reverse my charges and give him the money back for the remote. Now, the problem there, he still doesn't have a remote and he still needs a remote, and I can probably supply him a remote. Then I thought I'd do a little bit of investigation myself. So I wrote back to our supplier and said, "Hey, my customer says that the tracking number is bogus and we need proof of delivery, because we've got no proof because we can't look it up on New Zealand Post system." So this was a couple of days after the fact. So then we got 2 images back. So after refunding the customer, doing what I felt was right, I sent 2 pictures back to the client and said, is this your letterbox? Just out of curiosity. Yep, 100%. Because previously he told me that he had 3 cameras monitoring his home, and he knows that there was no courier on the property. So I'm thinking, well, that's a bit strange. But then when you look at the photos, it does look like it's along a long drive, and it would be unlikely that he has got a camera on his letterbox. So now the next question is, should the courier have left the parcel in the letterbox? Is the letterbox that looks like it's part of his fence part of his property? Is it okay for a courier to leave a parcel that isn't tracked and traced or require a signature, to leave it in a letterbox out of sight? I don't know. He did send me a message just before I went live in this video, and it said the courier must deliver the package to the address. We've done that. They cannot leave it in a letterbox unless agreed to beforehand. Well, I've never heard such a thing. Does that mean that a courier needs to deliver it to your front door? It may be so. I could stand to be corrected. I'm just going to put this in front so I can read it without looking over here. And then it says, they never even tried to deliver it to the house, as I can prove from the surveillance footage. They didn't knock on the door and get no answer. They just decided to go straight for the letterbox. And I get that. I get that, because couriers, honestly, when you've delivered 5,000 parcels a year, it annoys me. I've only had this year, in the last 18 months, I've only had 2 people come up and say to me that they have lost their parcel. The very next day, the first lady said it's turned up and goes away. The second one, what really got my back up about this orthopaedic surgeon, is he accused me of being a scammer. He said my customer service was bad, and I actually felt like I was getting bullied by someone in a authoritative position, somebody, responsible. I felt like I was getting stitched up by the orthopedic surgeon, to be honest, and I'm actually a bit angry about it, but I'm trying to be fair and reasonable, and I'm trying to look from both perspectives. And I did hear a bit of a blue happen just then. All good questions all good questions on leaving parcels in letterbox. Many are being raided these days, and that is true. Who said, I remember losing an $1,100 cell phone when I sent it to Auckland once, when I sold it on Trade Me. This is our local eBay. And then I found out there was a courier that was taking everything home with him, and he had a whole house load of stuff, and I reckon my cell phone was in there. And they did actually pay it with insurance, but we're talking about a $55 remote. So anyway, he sent me a form from New Zealand Post, but now I've realised it's not New Zealand Post. So are they liable? I carry on reading what he's wrote, because it's what he wrote. Therefore, NZ Post is liable here. Well, unfortunately, it's not New Zealand Post. It's iMile Courier. So if we go back to the image here, you can see that iMile track with whoever this one is, iMile. And they're the couriers that we need to theoretically lay a claim in. And whether, is it my responsibility or his responsibility? Technically speaking, they have delivered it to his letterbox. Anyone can open your letterbox. Now, somebody could have gone into the property and stolen the remote from the inside of his house. Would he have claimed on the insurance, or at what point does the handover go from my responsibility to the customer's responsibility? I would like to think once it's in his letterbox, it's his. But he's saying that they shouldn't have left it in the letterbox. How many times have you received something from a courier and they leave it in your letterbox? Are couriers doing it wrong? They could be. Who knows? I said, anyway, it said the package was never received. Well, I kind of dispute that, because I can see it in your letterbox. That may not have been your fault at last, but it's also not my fault. You cannot ask me to pay for something that is not my fault, no fault of mine. But he's asking me to flip the bill for something that's no fault of mine either. The courier company is at fault according to their own rules. Well, I don't know the rules of iMile Carrier, because I actually thought it was New Zealand Post. Therefore, this issue needs to be addressed with them. It says you are out of pocket. They are at fault. You need to talk to them. I don't appreciate you trying to make your problem my problem. Poor customer service once again. All right. So, look, I've got my hands up in the air. I've already done the right thing. about 2 days after the customer complained about my poor customer service, I actually asked ChatGPT to write me up exactly what went wrong in this situation and put a timeline on it. So I thought I'll get my computer to read this and we can have a wee listen together and just go through the whole thing once again, because this is actually in my head turning out to be like a little wee court case thing. Right, so let's have a wee listen to the first part.
Welcome to the Crypto Ponzi Scheme Avenger, the channel dedicated to exposing scams and creating public awareness to protect everyday investors. I'm Danny de Hek, and while my mission focuses on shaming Ponzi schemes and multi-level marketing predators, I occasionally encounter other issues worth sharing, such as this one. This video recounts my experience with John, an orthopedic surgeon from Mount Eden, Auckland, who ordered a remote for the ONKYO RC-880M through my dropshipping business. Despite the remote being delivered, with photographic proof, the situation escalated into accusations, threats, and demands for refunds. Here's the full story.
Right, so there you go. It gives you a bit of basis of who I am and what I do. I spent about 2 or 3 hours on this for $55. It's not worth my time, and I'm sure it's definitely not worth John, the orthopedic surgeon's time either. And we've just got Kathy in the room here, and she said she's, howdy all. Oh, goody. This is right up my alley. So this is going to be good. Now, Kathy is one of our scam fighting heroes. So it's nice to hear your 2 cents worth, and would love to know what your opinion on this. But let's see what happened here. Am I providing good customer service? Am I a good dropshipping company? Because I don't have the remotes. I don't claim to have them in my office, but I do have a selection of 700 different remotes that you can buy on remotes.co.nz. As you can see, I've got all sorts of remotes. And it just so happens the remote that John got was a goodie, and he obviously wants it as much as I wanted to sell it to him. It is the ONKYO RC.
ONKYO RC-880M.
It's a good remote. So anyway, John, thank you, John. I really do appreciate you ordering a remote from remotes.co.nz on the 21st of October. So you ordered the remote, and then the tracking was confirmed and delivered on the 30th of October. And we've got photos. We didn't have photos at the time, but suppose I could have asked for them. But I don't do that with all my orders because I'm too busy. I said photos showing the replacement remote in his letterbox. That's pretty cool. Now, I did put an inquiry in with the courier company, and I actually asked my supplier for a refund because I thought I would be able to get my money back that I paid for the remote simply because the tracking number didn't work within New Zealand Post system. But that didn't work because New Zealand Post wasn't the end deliverer, which was my mistake. So let's take this one on a lesson. So on the 15th of November, John asked me about the remote, promptly provided him the tracking and suggested he contacted NZ Post. So we know that now. On the 18th, John accused me of being a scammer and threatened to file a chargeback if I didn't refund his payment. So that's when I started investigating John and thought, who is this guy and why is he talking to me like I'm a piece of shit? And why do you need to talk to people like they're pieces of shit? He's frustrated. He's perplexed. He's angry. I don't know what he is, but he didn't need to talk to me like I was a piece of shit. He didn't need to give me a review on what he thought of my customer service. As far as my opinion goes, when I've rung up New Zealand Post, it's a friggin' nightmare. And I get it. And I understand your time's valuable, so's my time's valuable. I'm human as well. But do you need to call people names? Do you need to make threats? I don't think so. If you did a chargeback on my little wee business, I would incur a $20 fee straight away. But good to know for next time when you're not happy, John. Just tell them you're going to charge them back $20. It's not worth it. All the profit's gone, and it's just a paper nightmare. Now, I've already spent about 5 hours on this, and I'm sure John's feeling about the same way. If I didn't refund the payment. Yeah, so he's threatening to do that. Despite photographic evidence of delivery, which he didn't have at the time, I refunded the full payment of $55.90 as a goodwill gesture. Evidence provided. On the 20th of November, the courier provided photos proving the remote was delivered to John's letterbox. John confirmed the letterbox was his, but stated the parcel was not received. Okay. Now, John, you don't know me from a bar of soap. I'm quite a nice guy deep down, even though we had a lot of correspondence. I'm also extremely friggin' dyslexic. and I say things wrong, and I don't pronounce my words right, and also I really struggle with reading and writing. In fact, I have a reading and a writing level of a 9-year-old. You probably won't believe me, but that's true. And I used ChatGPT for my whole life. That's why the correspondence looked quite responsible at the start. Anyway, so this is what I thought I'd do to remedy the situation. After finding out we did deliver it to the letterbox and it was inside, out of sight, out of mind, I believe I've done my job 100%. John even agreed that I'd done everything 100%. He used the 100% thing. So that was really nice. So I thought, well, why do I have to be out of pocket for the money? And then I'm thinking, why does John have to be out of pocket for the money? He's got 3 video cameras there surveilling his letterbox, I was led to believe. But it wasn't. His driveway's too long, so he doesn't know what happens at the end of his street. But is it his letterbox? Was it out of sight? I think it was. I don't think I should be responsible for something that's in his property, in his letterbox. But hey, if the couriers aren't allowed to deliver to letterboxes, that's a good question. Then it's my responsibility. All couriers should never use a letterbox because that's what the postman's meant to do. The postman delivers mail, letters, to the letterbox. Is it illegal for somebody to put their hand in somebody's letterbox and take their mail or their parcel out of their letterbox? I think it is. In fact, it is illegal. Did you know if that happens, the policeman should be contacted and he should come down and dust all around your letterbox and find out if there's any fingerprints that shouldn't be there. And if there's somebody's fingerprints there who's taken my remote, and why would they steal the remote? Have they got the same type of device that their remote's for? You would think there must be quite a coincidence. I don't know. Who's got the remote now? We will never know. So what I suggested is a fair solution, and I could be wrong. John pays for the refunded remote. So I've refunded John $55 odd. I think he should pay me the money. And then I thought, well, I'll be reasonable. The second remote, I'll give you 50% off. And that way it doesn't really cost me, and I break even. Okay? And I would try, I can't guarantee it, but I would try to include a note asking the courier when he does deliver to the door, to deliver it to the door instead of the letterbox, even though the little wee tiny remote probably fitted quite nicely into the letterbox and the courier driver could have been, let's just say the courier driver could have been a bit lazy. So I said I couldn't guarantee that would be the happen, but I'll try my best. But sometimes when we get notes, people think I personally handle the item that I deliver from China, and yeah, they give me these great big, when I start saying, please leave courier notes, I get these great big long expressions, please leave it under the 5th blue plant holder between 3 and 5 in the afternoon because I won't be home because I'll be getting some groceries. And I get all these stories in these notes. So we just don't do notes anymore. Just saying. So John declined, stating that he would purchase the remote elsewhere. Oh, well, it's his call, his thing, in his story, and that's cool. So the final communication that I had from John, and it wasn't quite the final, but we're now doing this live, is John accused me of wasting his time, providing incorrect information, and stated that he would not pay for the remote that I've lost money on, despite acknowledging my refund and the evidence of delivery. He called my follow-ups harassment and refused further correspondence. So that's all good, but I have got further correspondence, which I'll read in a minute. So why am I speaking out? Well, it's tricky, isn't it? Isn't it tricky? Isn't it hard these days? Can we just not speak nice to people? First thing he did, he went straight for the jugular and told me I had poor customer service. And I don't have poor customer service. I try my best. I spent over an hour on this before I even started corresponding with them. You just have all this correspondence stuff. So I'm going to read the next paragraph and you can just listen to it. It's a lot easier that way. It's not that I wrote it. I used ChatGPT.
John's behavior, accusing me of being a scammer, threatening a chargeback, and refusing a reasonable resolution, has been deeply disappointing, especially given his role as an orthopaedic surgeon. As someone dedicated to exposing unethical behavior, I cannot let this situation go unnoticed. While I can only assume the item may have been misplaced after delivery, there is no concrete proof to support this. However, the photographic evidence confirms that the parcel was delivered as agreed. I take pride in running an honest business, and I spend 70 to 80 hours a week exposing scammers to protect consumers. To be falsely accused of scamming by a professional who should know better is not only frustrating but damaging to my reputation.
Yeah. You know, next week I'm going to be interviewed by one of the biggest advertising agents in the world. They've sent in a film crew around. They've had 3 attempts to try to get a film crew up to their standards in New Zealand, and now it's next Thursday. And the next one, I've been in the New York Times. I've been interviewed by some big reporters, and I talk about some massive things that are going down the world, like human trafficking and everything. And here I am, sitting here on a Thursday afternoon, thinking this guy called me a scammer. It's actually really an insult to my time and energies. Hey, but John doesn't know me, and I'm just a guy selling TV remotes to survive, and he can talk to me like a piece of shit if he wants. But the only reason I found out who John was is because I rang up when he had the problem to talk to him, and he wouldn't answer the phone. So he came across, he might have been cutting somebody open and had them on the table and thought, I better not answer my cell phone here, I'll get told off by the boss. I don't know. But I tried to do everything in my power. I tried to help him in his journey to get his remote. And I actually feel like, and I think I should just send this guy another remote. And I should just start over. And I think I will. I'm just going to send John another remote because you got it sus, mate. You just talk to people like they're pieces of shit. And because you're an orthopedic surgeon and you've got nice customer front face, your inner soul will tell you did not do the right thing. So I'm going to send you another remote to your house. So don't worry about ordering one. I'm just going to send you a free remote. How's that sound? Have you got what you wanted, John? Now, are you going to write me a little wee message going, thanks, I deserve it? Is that the attitude? Why don't you speak kindly to people? I did nothing but it. In your email correspondence to me, you said I had done nothing wrong. So I'm going to just find a couple of lines that really piss me off. And you haven't really made my day. I will say this. Evidence. I mean, you just got to talk nicely to people. Let's see. So I wrote back a few times, and I haven't twisted this in any which way or form. It's just not worth going into. There's actually a form that you can. So I suggested that maybe you could ring up all the couriers in New Zealand and tell them how you want your delivery. Now, I used to be a Jehovah's Witness, and I used to knock on people's door. I would be really interested to know whether John's house has access to the front door for Jehovah's Witnesses and also for couriers. Because when I was a Jehovah's Witness, a lot of us got bitten by people's dogs. And sometimes people have signs on their doors, and I'm not saying John does, saying beware of the dog. Did you know having a beware of the dog sign on your gate is actually illegal? It's a bylaw. You're not allowed to. You've got to provide access to your front door for every Jehovah's Witness or every Mormon in the world. And if there's a gate and you are a courier driver and you have to open that gate and take a risk of somebody having a dog that you don't know whether it's vicious or friendly, often they don't do it. And I was the same as a Jehovah's Witness. I remember getting bailed up at a door when I was 20 years of age by a German Shepherd that was a proper guard dog. And I used to be braver than the dog, and I used to lurch at the dog. This dog stepped right up to me, and he was going to go off at me if I didn't walk backwards through the garden out of the property. It's awful. So I can understand from the courier point of view, who get paid like sometimes 50 cents or $1 to deliver a parcel, why they don't want to go up your long drive, open your gate and deliver it to your door and put it by that pot plant that you might want the delivery instructions to say. And to be honest, mate, if you've got a letterbox, you put a lock on your letterbox, and that will stop people putting parcels in your letterbox. Then they will be left no choice but to go up to your door and knock on it and put it at the bottom or ring the bell and go away. They take photos of the goods for a certain reason. And I think it's unfair to say I offer bad customer service. And it's bad to say I am a scammer. And it's bad to say that you're going to do a chargeback because you didn't get what you want. In your own email correspondence to me, you said that you're not at fault and I'm not at fault. But you're going to do a chargeback on my card because you think that you haven't got the remote. Some people watching this might tell you what to do with the remote, but that's not my style. Anyway, so I just got really sick. This is so you didn't like my proposal. And this is some other correspondence here, which I'll get read.
Hi, Danny. We have a very long driveway. The cameras are on the house, not at the bottom of the driveway. Normally couriers deliver to the house, not the letterbox. Yes, I believe that you did your bit 100%. Happy that you did everything in your power to do what was asked. I still don't have a remote from my side though. I still need a remote. I am happy to reorder the same remote from you. NZ Post regulations state they can only leave in the letterbox if given authority to do so. I don't know if you gave that authority, but I did not. If we go again, please say to deliver to the house. Cheers.
I don't know. Would you guys send him a new he's in New Zealand. Yeah, he's in New Zealand. Somebody was just asking, Kathy was just asking. I don't know. I'm at the fence here. I don't know. Do I don't actually know. I mean, I'm still trying to process the fact that he is a bully. And this orthopedic surgeon, John, thinks that he can talk to me arrogantly without little respect. I don't even demand respect. I mean, I get in the faces of these I think you know what I do. I get right up in the faces of some of the biggest scammers in the world. I take risk. I mean, last year I had a defamation case in the New Zealand High Court for $3.8 million. I took on a scammer that was defrauding people for millions of dollars. I don't have any money. I can't afford to take these people to court. In fact, that was why I do what I do, because it's very hard to prosecute me. And what are you going to do to stop me? And that's how I tackle these scammers. But when someone from my own country has a go at me and calls me a friggin' scammer because he didn't get his TV remote delivered to his friggin' door, and then states in his first email that he's got 3 cameras monitoring his house all around the place, and he said there was no courier there. And also, I gave you the tracking. And I got the product to you in 9 days from China. And then you give me 2 weeks after it's been delivered, you contact me asking me for, where's my remote? And I go, don't know, here's the tracking. I haven't received it. And it's my problem. Okay, what are you going to do about it? Oh my God, you're a scammer. And your company's a scam company. I'm going to report you. I'm going to reverse the credit card charges because that's my right. I have not got my remote. Oh, what am I meant to do? Poor little shop owner. It's hard being a shop owner these days. It's hard being self-employed these days. I don't cut people open. Who's been stitched here, me or you or him? I don't know. Am I being unreasonable? Am I just fed up with people that can't show respect to another human being? What is it these days, guys? Why are people so greedy? Why are so people got their head up their ass so far? What is it? Can't we be nice to people? Can't we be amicable? Did I call you any names? Did I say you're a lousy surgeon and I wouldn't trust you with a pocket knife? I didn't say anything horrible to you. You just treated me like I was a piece of shit. Is that what makes you feel good, John? Well, people who know you will probably see this video and they'll figure out who you are. They'll probably contact me and go, oh yeah, I've had dealings with that guy before. I don't know, mate. I don't really care. But look, mate, I tell you what, if you want another remote, I don't want you as a customer. And I'm going to renege what I said a few minutes ago and got you all excited. Oh, I'm going to get my remote. I'm going to get my remote, the one I deserve. You can take the remote and you can shove it where the sun don't shine. All right? I feel better. Do I feel better? I don't really. I just think that the world needs to have a new way of dealing with humans. You know, last week this time I'm sitting at the Global Financial Crime Summit. I'm listening to a lady on the stage pleading with 150 delegates from all around the world that fight cybercrime. And she's pleading with us to help people who are in human trafficking compounds. People that go and answer an ad, fly over to places like Bangkok, get picked up in a bus, their passport taken off them, and told if they don't make their bosses $50,000 a week, they're going to get beaten. The women get raped, the men get buried alive, and here we are having a conversation about a bloody remote that didn't get delivered to your door. Really? It's just not on, mate. There's a lot more things in the world, a lot more serious things for the Crypto Ponzi Scheme Avenger to spend his time on. So I'm going to renege. I'm going to do something naughty. I'm going to show you, right, John, I don't have good customer service. There's no way in hell I'm going to send you a remote. Good luck finding a remote for your little wee whatever. You can do it yourself. I'm not going to spend any more of my money. I've already spent lost $55 dealing with you. And next time you're going to cut somebody open on the table, hey, just put another $55 on your bill perhaps and cover your costs. And TV remote, hey, the remote you bought, it might be for an old device. Go buy yourself a new one. I don't know. And I don't really care, mate. Just get off my screen, get off my emails. This is the last bit of correspondence I'm going to have about your remote. I did the right thing. I refunded you. I don't know who's responsible. I feel sorry for courier drivers that don't know where to put the parcels these days. Hey, sure, we get parcels. I work in another shop, and we get parcels that look like they're put through a lawnmower sometimes when they get delivered. I don't know what couriers do, but they get paid. They're probably stressed. They're underpaid and over-deliver. That's quite funny. Anyway, I'm Danny de Hek, aka the Crypto Ponzi Scheme Avenger. If you've got any comments about this and you want to have your 2 cents worth, please do put a comment below. Please share and like this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I just thought I'd produce a little bit more content. And if you do need a remote, I would value you as a customer. And I promise you, I will go the extra mile and do my best. Now, I normally get up about 6 o'clock in the morning and go to bed about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's probably why I shouldn't have done this video today and should have waited until I was in the right frame of mind. And that's also why I'm not an orthopedic surgeon. So I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.